bunch of different ways. We started working on it a bunch of different ways. It's not really worked out. The approach we're going to take now is to build a framework around Moodle that lets you manage multiple Moodle instances. Still from one code base, but with multiple databases, one database per site. And that keeps everything separate and clean and clear. But there'll be an administrative interface for doing things like, say, copying users from one Moodle to another Moodle. And things like that. Mobile. Moodle has this web services API. This is a way of talking to Moodle in a very standard way. The web services infrastructure lets you talk through 4 different protocols: SOAP, XML, RPC, REST, ANF, and lets you do things like, say, create a course or create a user, put this user in the course, create a forum, write a post to the forum from that user, those sorts of operations. That's for use by external server applications. You may have a student information system that wants to create users in Moodle, and this is how it can work. But importantly, this is also for mobile apps. So if you have an app running on a device, it needs to talk to Moodle to pass information backwards and forwards. And this way is very secure. We have so much security on this, you wouldn't believe it. So we added, since I was last here, we added to the existing iPhone app, we're adding features very slowly. This one was for offline content, so it's possible in the app now to go to a Moodle course and download any downloadable content to your local device. And if you're on the train or something and you don't have an internet connection, you can read your PDFs, look at images or Word documents and things like that. The whole process of developing apps is really hard, we've discovered. And we had a couple of guys on it last year, and it's difficult. Not only because of the complexity of writing code native to that platform, but also because the web services need to be developed alongside. And developing these web services and making them generic is also pretty hard. So what we've decided to do is actually we're going to drop the iPhone app. I had someone working on an Android app, you saw the source code before. Just really hard to get anything of any good quality. So it's too hard to do that, so we're basically dropping it. We've released the iPhone source code on GitHub under GPL. If you want to take it and use it to make your own custom iPhone app, you're very, very welcome to do so. The new approach we're going to be taking is completely new. So we're using HTML5 and PhoneGap. And that means most of the content of the pages that you see will actually be web pages. So it runs like an app, it launches like an app, but inside is web pages using JavaScript. This means we can very quickly compile the app for all the different platforms at once. We can go, here's the iPhone version, here's the Android version, here's the BlackBerry version, here's every single phone. We've moved from XML and RPC to REST for the web services. That's just a faster way of doing it. We've also got somebody from CBA, another Moodle partner in Spain, Juan is leading this project. He'll be doing most of the work on it, and we'll be supporting him with all the web services work. There's a new interface for it too. It doesn't look like this screenshot. It's going to look probably more like a Twitter app. You use Twitter on a tablet with a menu down the left, which means it's very expandable. You can add new features to it very easily, and also it works better on tablets and small phones as well. The best thing about it is it's going to be very modular and very extensible. So this code is going to be GPL, open source. If you want to take the code and fork it, or add, make your own version and add to it, and make a customized version for your institution, you can very easily. And if you write new modules for it, you can also publish them back, and maybe the community will like them and will become part of the core app as well. So we really want to get a community of developers around the app, extending it and making it do all the things we want it to do. The other mobile thing is that Moodle has a mobile theme. We have a mobile theme in Moodle that was added in 2.2. It's okay, it's still getting worked on, but that's how Moodle looks now when you go to it with a mobile, with a smartphone. It looks like this now. It looks completely different. It's got big fat buttons for big fat fingers. That's if you have a live connection and you want to use the Moodle site directly, then the theme is important there. So we're also improving that theme and developing the theme. The app is really more for offline use or for things that you can't do on the web, such as notifications. The very next feature we're adding is notifications. I don't think I have a slide about it actually, but we've actually already built in a notifications server so that with Moodle 2.4, you connect your Moodle site to our notifications server, and any student who wants to get notifications about anything in the messages interface, so whether they're private messages or forum posts and things, they go through your Moodle to our notification server to Apple to your iPhone, or from the notification server to something for Android to your Android phone, and get things going ping on your screen. We've already got that working in the labs, but that will be coming along soon too. So that's a good reason to have a mobile app, because you get pinged by your Moodle site. And with analytics, it starts getting very exciting. You get real-time notifications of students doing bad things or good things. It would be really good. On tablets, the standard Moodle theme also needs work. So we're also working on the standard Moodle themes to make sure they work with tablets, because Moodle works quite fine on this format. And when it doesn't, we need to fix those things. So we're happening. This is iOS 6 is the next version for iPhones coming out soon, and iPads. And they've just added a feature in Safari where you can actually hit a standard upload button like that and just grab photos off your device. So that's one less reason for a mobile app, actually. But yeah, we've been doing quite a lot of testing on tablets as well. The future. Where we go from here is a function of all those other things I was talking about on Tracker, your feedback, and so on. But a lot of that is very incremental, and a lot of that is fixing up smaller things. For the big future, we're thinking very deeply about education in general and Moodle in general. And what are we doing online? What's our purpose here? And one of the really innovative things that people are doing already around the platform that we can learn from and we can spread amongst the community in the software, as well as techniques. So we've started a new initiative, which is the Moodle Research Conference, which I'm very proud of. I'm really happy about this. The first conference is going to be in Crete, and it's in September. We had 46 papers submitted for this first one. We accepted 24, so we have roughly 50% acceptance rate, which is okay for a first conference. We've got about 100 people registered so far coming along to that, so it's going to be 2 days of pretty exciting stuff. It's just research, so we're only looking at things where people have really done the numbers and really evaluate their results. So it's not a typical Moot, which is a mix of many different things. This is really going to be focused on research. There is a proceedings coming out of this. It'll be published. It'll be open for free. So watch out for that. There should be some really interesting stuff and some really interesting conversations at that conference. And this will be an annual thing. It's not always going to be a Crete. We'll move it around. So if anyone wants to put up their hand for next year, let me know also. That's more the usage side of things. This is more the code side of things. We're having a Hacktoberfest in October. And that's actually a picture of where it is. It's down on the beach at this hotel, south of Perth, about 3 hours south, out of nowhere. And 40 developers are all going to be holed up for 5 days, discussing all the things we can be doing in the future. We'll be brainstorming future tech developments, deciding on major architecture changes, and we'll actually be doing some coding and probably drinking some beer. It's going to be very good. We've got about half the people are from Moodle HQ, the other half are from all over the world. So some developers from Moodle partners and other major core developers are involved. So there should be a lot of reporting coming out of that as well. The last time we had one of these was in the Czech Republic in 2009, and a lot of the stuff in Moodle 2 came out of that. And it was a really, really great time. And alcohol's very cheap in the Czech Republic. We had an open bar where basically we all drank mojitos for 5 days. And we just got so much done. It was really good. Any questions? I probably don't know how much time we have. We're cutting into time, but any questions on anything?
If anybody has any, they can walk down to either this one or that one over there. Feel free to line up.
The gentleman halfway down there. Look up your name so they might come up. You've got a big voice, I know.
Kind of a selfish need, but I really love the direction that you're headed in relative to repositories. What can I do to make WebDAV work?
It doesn't work.
Yeah, on the secure login side, it's broken.
Okay. I can't tell you offhand.
Sure.
Yeah, but is there a bug in the tracker about it?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
And both.
Okay, good. Well, you could catch me afterwards. I'd like to have a look at it. Yes, sir.
So I'm really excited about 2.3. I've been using it for a couple of months now. It's just fantastic. Thanks so much for all of this.
Cool.
Functionality. What I'm wondering is that with the recent rolls of 2.2.2.3 and upcoming 2.4, is 6 months too tight a schedule to get that first release as high a quality as you'd like?
Well, they're actually becoming even. It's a balance, right? There are lots of arguments for having a regular release, time-based release schedule. People can plan, people know what's coming up. They know if they're planning an upgrade in 2 years that they'll be working with 2.6. We're just going to keep putting out 2 releases, 2.6, 2.10, 2.20 probably for a long time. And they're going to be very incremental. If we run out of time, so there are things I want to get into 2.4, and if they don't happen, then we cut them. We don't put them in. We've actually just moved our code freeze period even further ahead. So now basically, if it isn't completely finished by 6 weeks before the release, it's just not going to be considered. And for 2.3, I tried to squeeze some things in the last minute, which I think were really important, and I'm really glad we did, but we're not going to do that anymore. So they're actually getting very incremental. There'll be only a couple of changes in every release. And I think that overall, that stability and predictableness is important.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah.
One of the things that's motivating us to move to 2.3 is the file system repository. Could you talk a little bit more about that and your support of that? I think it's excellent to be able to map the network drive.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so one of the ones I didn't show is you can have a repository that's actually a folder on the server. Just a folder of files on the server. And if you map the folder on your server to something on the network, maybe you've got an old Novell drive or a Samba folder somewhere, then it just appears in Moodle as a bunch of files. So then, people can transfer things from their desktop into the network drive, and then they can see it in Moodle. So that's another thing that works also. Yeah.
No disrespect to, I guess, third world communities of trying to find out where is the web not available. And since you're killing things, is it a good use of resources to be following up extensively on offline apps and offline development? Isn't the web ubiquitous with cell phones and Wi-Fi everywhere? Or, who are you developing that for?
Well, when I come to the US, do you know how much it costs for me to download stuff off the web when I'm on roaming?
Yeah,
It's
right.
a lot. There is time when you want to be offline, but
On a plane.
on a plane, for sure. On a beach, maybe grading your assignments there on the beach.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
On a bus in San Francisco.
Sorry?
On a bus in San Francisco, since AT&T's covered.
Yeah.
It sucks, and they were entire neighborhoods.
And there are a lot of countries in the world where it's worse. We're talking about first world here. You know, it's worse. So there are use cases.
I noticed you've got one of the summer of code students working on SCORM.
Yes.
What improvements can we expect on that? When will we see them?
Oh, I'm not actually familiar. Let me have a quick look. Does anyone have another question while I'm looking that up?
I'm a Moodle Moot client, and Moodle Moot is bought by Blackboard. What are your thoughts about the future of that relationship with Blackboard and
Well, I wasn't involved in that at all. Moodle Rooms and NetSpot have always been Moodle partners. They are very big supporters of Moodle through their contributions, through the royalties that they pay as Moodle partners. And nothing has changed. They still are, and they're still Moodle Rooms and NetSpot. You know, there is a perception of being in this relation with Blackboard that is, the perception is the problem, but actually, from my point of view, things have continued to be the same. Yep. This is the page about 2004 stuff, so maybe you want to look that up. Let's see what we've got to see. But, this, I don't know when this will actually get in. So every year we have a few Google Summer Code students working on various things for Moodle, and some of it has gone into Moodle. And in fact, we recently hired one of those students, and we imported him from Spain to Perth. He now lives in Perth, and he's great. He's doing some really good work for us. David Molan. Yeah.
You read my mind. Where have you found your developers and how do you select them?
How do I select developers? Well, it's interesting. They're sort of self-selecting. They tend to be quite interested in Moodle already, and that kind of development, and being involved in open source, and the involvement with the community that they have. And so a lot of those people eventually, at some point, I just go, look, you should be working for us, and take them on. But we also advertise locally and find developers in Perth and train them up and as well. So you can always use more developers. Are you volunteering? Oh, talk to me later. Yeah, how you doing?
I have a compliment and then I'll follow with that question. The slave stories, I mean, I'm actually kind of glad that you delayed it to fit stuff in. It seems like a very clean release in our testing. We tried to find bugs and it's been actually kind of hard.
This had the most testing of any release.
So, and I think, encouraging people to use the QA site, we've actually had our student employees use those scripts to do testing and everything. So I think, hats off. I mean, the new process, I think, is paying off. Thinking about the performance is very important to us, and we kind of fought through a lot of our performance stuff. But I mean, eventually we'll get big enough where we'll have to think about it a lot. Would it make sense to have a QA style thing focused just on performance to involve some of the other universities? And I mean, would that be something that would make sense to do something focused not for testing bugs, but testing performance?
Yep. One of the automated tests I was showing, this one, is exactly that. It's testing all different parts of Moodle and measuring their performance over time. But we still need data from real institutions.
So what would be the best way for us to contribute our numbers? Just run these reports
Yes, we probably will publish these. We haven't yet, the code for them. So you could do that on your data set, on your machinery. That would be useful, yeah.
Okay.
But in the meantime, if you just notice that one particular page is really bad, or you're able to track down a piece of code that's causing a problem, we really want to know about it.
Lately, everything's been going so well. You know, we've had to really use something like this to find problems because there's not one bad thing that there has been in the past, except for maybe stats. We don't run stats. I know the stats might be problematic, but sure, we haven't been really running in our production.
And we're getting good from the partners who run sites with 40,000, act like Monash University, it's 40,000 students, really pushing on this stuff. And you know, they're noticing particular areas that are causing problems, and that feedback's invaluable because we can zoom in and really focus on it. But the performance is always trade-offs. You know, you fix the speed, you increase the memory, and it's always balancing. It's a lot of tuning. Yeah. Just maybe these three, I guess, before we go to. Right. So, you there.
I'm really excited about some of the improvements, but one that didn't make the list was Gradebook. Any plans on upgrades to the Gradebook?
Well, I've been talking with some Gradebook fans for some time about that. Maybe you can talk to Robert Russo here. So that's something I really want a bit more community involvement on. It's very hard for us to understand what people need with grades because it's a very complex area with very many different needs. We built the plugin framework for Gradebook so people could extend it and make their own interfaces and so on. But there's not really as many of those plugins around as I would like to see. It's any clear specifications of exactly what you need are always good. And then put them in the tracker, talk to Robert. Yes, over there. So you were there first? Okay.
I was really excited to see that you've got audio recording of the file figure coming to form. Most people have been voting for that on the tracker.
Yep.
Possibly under multiple identities. Because that affects some of the investments that we are going to be considering making, can you be a little bit more specific about your timeline for that and for video?
There's technical difficulties with this whole field because you've got three choices. You've got HTML5, which isn't ready yet.
Yeah, I mean, I've been up to my neck in all of it, yeah.
Yeah, you've got Java, which is Java, and you've got Flash, which is great for the interface, but you need a backend for video, not for audio. I only discovered recently. I think that's a new thing. So that's why this audio plugin works. It has a Flash front end that's able to collect the audio, convert it to MP3, and then post it via a form back to Moodle. But you can't do the same with video. So for video, you need to use Java currently. Or you have a server somewhere that processes everything for everybody and then sends it back to Moodle. And there's third-party plugins like Poodle, P-O-O-D-L-L, which do that and quite effectively, and they use it a lot for language training in Japan. And there's also SoundCloud plugins and all sorts of other methods. What we are currently working on is a Google Summer Code project. It's about making a framework where it chooses the front end that's most appropriate. And I'm not involved in that project right now, but there's always going to be multiple solutions. I wish there was just one easy solution.
But so you do expect that the audio will be in 2.4?
Yeah, I think this one I showed you, once they get a little tidied up, that will probably go to 2.4.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But it's just a plugin, it's easy to drop in anytime. Yeah.
Just curious, you had mentioned something about multi-tenancy earlier, but I didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
My organization, I think it's a national training agency for Jamaica, have about, well, we're projecting that by the end of this year, we may have about 30-something different sites for different institutions. And we're having difficulty in terms of how to manage those sites for, upgrades that aren't equal to all that. So I just mentioned something about it being difficult to do something with multi-tenancy, and there's some solution that you're looking for. Could you just...
The original approach we had was to add a new context level. In Moodle, you have site, you have course categories, you have courses, you have activities. We added a new context level called tenant, which was just above the courses and under the site. And that meant you could define 10 tenants of the same Moodle site, and it would try and keep them all separate from each other. But because Moodle wasn't designed like that from the beginning, it turned out there were so many things we had to fix, it became unstable. So the approach now is to just have a whole Moodle site, and maybe, like, you imagine a shell program around it for creating and destroying Moodle instances and copying data between them and that kind of stuff. But that's going to be some time off. It's not here. In the meantime, you can sort of do that yourself.
So we'll continue have to basically upgrade all of them individually.
Yeah, but with Moodle 2, you can do the command line up. There is a command line interface for upgrading. And so if you have a developer who knows a bit of scripting, they can actually script a lot of this stuff. So you can say, for sites 1 to 30, do this, do this, do this. And you run it once, and it will upgrade them all at once. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Probably gone over time, so thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. The next session will start at 10:45.